No joke, April was another fantastic reading month for me. One of the reasons for that was Inverted World by Christopher Priest. Here, I want to say thank you to Robin from Bookspin for inviting me to do a buddy read. We had a great time talking about this book on Discord, discussing its merits, trying to figure out the mystery, what is going on in this world. I'm not gonna go into a full book review, a full dive. I will link Robin's review, which was excellent.
Hello, I'm Robin, and welcome to Bookspin. Inverted World by Christopher Priest.
He did a great job reviewing this book, and I agree with, I think, everything he says in it. I'll link it down below if you want to watch a whole review. But I will say that this book was, for one, a lot of fun to read. Two, it's well written, it's tight, not a lot of fat in these pages. The story develops in a very nice, progressive, linear manner. You're learning a lot about the world along with our protagonist, which I also enjoyed. It was just a pleasure to read. The mystery of this city, everyone probably who's thinking about reading this book has read the blurb, knows a little bit about it. So you have this city of Earth that moves along. The city has to move in order for it to survive. That's the premise of the book. Now we're trying to figure out, why does this city need to move? There's mysteries. There are things that are happening in this book that will surprise you, will perhaps blow your mind. Great science fiction read. I really enjoyed it. The first page, the first paragraph, the first sentence in this book is right away setting you up for an adventure. I think it's possibly one of the best first sentences in all of science fiction. It reads as follows. I had reached the age of 650 miles. I had reached the age of 650 miles. From the beginning, you know that this is not going to be your average book. This was a great read. I highly recommend you pick up Inverted World and find out if you like it for yourself. And definitely check out Robin's review after you finish watching my video, because I still have more amazing books to talk about. April was great because April brought Cormac McCarthy back into my world, into the fold. I love to read science fiction, obviously. It's the bulk of what I'm reading. Probably 90% of the books I read are science fiction books like Inverted World, which I'm just thinking, it actually reminds me, the writing and the story a little bit of China Miéville's writing, and maybe The City and the City, which I read, I think, last year and really liked as well. Inverted World, I liked more, and it's more of a science fiction story. City and the City is ambiguous. In any case, I digress. All the Pretty Horses, Cormac McCarthy, The Road is probably still my favorite McCarthy, but this was such a beautiful book, such a great story, such a complete read. I really enjoyed it. His prose is great, a little bit more lyrical in this story, in this book. It fits the setting very nicely. I really enjoyed all aspects of this book, and it's just so much fun to intertwine some of these literary fiction titles along with the science fiction that I'm reading. And now let's get into The Dark Tower, guys. This is kind of what my month has become. I'm almost at the end of Wastelands, book 3 in the Dark Tower series. I read The Gunslinger, and I think I've talked about this already, where I read it years ago, and I could not really sink my teeth into it, and I did not really get hooked on the story, so I put it aside. I never continued. Now I reread Dark Tower beginning of the month, and I really enjoyed it. But it wasn't until I started reading The Drawing of the Three that I fell in love with this story. Drawing of the Three was such a fabulous book 2 in this series for me, where it really came together. The reasons to read this book, this series, this fairly massive series, all come together in book 2 when the quest gets properly established, the world gets explained a little bit more, and we start to meet our heroes. Fabulous. I loved it. Such unlikely characters. I think this is Stephen King really at his best, and it continues in Wastelands and builds upon all the good stuff that I really liked about The Drawing of the Three. The Wastelands continues, so I'm so excited, so stoked to continue reading this. I don't know if I'm not just gonna continue reading it straight through because it's such a great story. The Wasteland has been a fun read as well. The characters are really coming into their own right now, becoming gunslingers, and we're adding more characters. Fabulous. I mean, I already have my favorite sidekick, Oi. It's just incredible stuff. So much fun with high stakes, and to me, this feels like much more of a science fiction story than fantasy. It really combines what I love about science fiction with those elements of fantasy as well, of a Western, and it's really well written, and it's crazy. You don't know what to expect. And the characters, the found family vibes in this are second to none. Stephen King really made the month of April special for me with these books. But I love Inverted World, and I loved All the Pretty Horses as well. I'm also reading just kind of for work. 10x is easier than 2x. This is a book that I do recommend if you're developing any type of business of your own, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to scale and become more profitable. It's an interesting look at how expanding your business 10 times can, or the mentality necessary to expand your business to that degree can be actually easier than doing it just trying to incrementally build your business and to exit. Anyway, I digress. That's not important. I also wanted to show you this cover, which I really love. This is the Polish cover, the Polish edition of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Hyperion was my favorite science fiction read of last year. It's one of my favorite science fiction books of all time, ergo one of my favorite books of all time. This Polish edition is amazing. I really like it. It's such a beautiful book. And I started reading it just a little bit just to see how the translation is. And it seems to be spot on, really well done. And I love the cover. There's also a beautiful cover for Fall of Hyperion. And my favorite one, I'll throw it up over here, is, I think, Endymion. That cover looks stunning. Maybe I'll get all of them. I don't know if I need to have them just for the covers, but it makes me happy. So heck, why not? I'm not really a book collector, but I do derive a lot of pleasure from having books that I enjoy reading, and making them prominently displayed is a lot of fun as well. So anyway, my April was great. I gotta think about what I'm gonna do in May. Maybe I'll shoot a separate video for that, but you know Stephen King is gonna be prominently featured in that May TBR with the Dark Tower series. I'm gonna continue on to the book Wizard and Glass, which I know for some is the #1 book in the whole series. I think Joanna from Joanna Reads, I think she mentioned in one of her comments that that's her favorite book in the series. So I'm very much excited. There's no way that May is gonna go by without me picking up The Wizard and Glass. So April was great. This whole year has been amazing, and I think being on BookTube is a big part of it. I am being a little bit more judicious with what I'm reading, and it's paying dividends when I set up a TBR. Of course, I'm a mood reader. It's open to changes, but being more thoughtful has brought a lot more pleasure to me, and I'm having a ton of fun. So anyway, that's my April. I'll talk to you next time.